Alrighty. So welcome and thank you everyone for attending today's technical assistance webinar. This webinar is presented by Amity Foundation, acting as the third-party administrator for LA County's Justice, Care, and Opportunities Department and the CFCI Care Grants. The CFCI, or Care First Community Investment Grants, are the result of ballot measure J voted in by LA County residents in 2020. Care First Community Investment Funds are intended to be invested directly into communities and alternatives to incarceration that address negative outcomes caused by racially driven criminal legal system inequalities and long-term economic disinvestment. Today's webinar is being recorded. You do not have to be on camera. However, understand that if you are on camera, your image may be captured in the recording. We do ask that everyone does stay on mute when they are not speaking, and staying on the webinar represents your consent to being recorded. So today we are going to talk about onboarding new employees. So imagine walking into a job and feeling instantly at home. That's everyone's goal with onboarding, right? That they will get to know your nonprofit's impact, your operational structure, and what success looks like in your role. So setting up time to make key team members who will support them throughout their journey is the goal here with onboarding new employees. However, before we start that, we are going to get into our Centering Community Land Acknowledgement. So at Amity, we incorporate teachings that center the community before we begin our work. Today, we will use the LA County Land Acknowledgement to recognize the price paid by individuals that has resulted in efforts such as the Care First Community Investments. We recognize that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tonva, Tataviam, Serrano, Quiche, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in the genocide of the First Peoples. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles County. So, onboarding isn't just a formality, it's a defining moment in an employee's experience. Studies show that 69% of employees are more likely to stay with a company for 3 years if they have had a great onboarding experience. For nonprofits, where our work is mission-driven, effective onboarding ensures that new hires connect deeply with our purpose from day one. So let's think about the last time you started a new job. If your onboarding experience was positive, what made it stand out? Was it clear expectations, an engaged leadership team, or feeling like a part of the community? Does anyone want to come off mute and say something that stays memorable from one of their onboarding experiences?
I'll go. Oh. To be able to have a 2-week process so that there's more than enough time for ample training to ask questions so that everybody's on the same page of what's expected. It's not just one day and then you have to remember how to do everything.
Thank you. Did someone else want to speak? No? Okay. So today we'll definitely be going through what we can make this experience like for others and how we can eliminate common onboarding pitfalls, ensuring that every new hire feels empowered from the start. So, onboarding and its link to employee retention. So, again, thinking back to that first time on the job, did you feel lost? Did you feel overwhelmed in those first few weeks? If so, it's likely that your experience focused more on administrative tasks and paperwork, compliance training, and policies rather than the true integration into an organization. That's the difference between an orientation and an onboarding. A poor onboarding experience can leave employees disengaged, leading to higher turnover rates. And according to Gallup, replacing an employee can cost anywhere from half to twice their annual salary. So, beyond recruitment expenses, turnover also impacts productivity, increases burnout among existing staff, and weakens team morale. So, effective onboarding is about more than just training. It's about immersing new employees in the culture, fostering connections, and setting them up for long-term success. When new hires feel welcomed, valued, and supported, they are far more likely to stay engaged and committed. For example, Microsoft found that employees who were paired with an onboarding buddy reported a 23% higher satisfaction rate with the overall process, which contributed to a 36% increase in overall work satisfaction by the 90-day mark. Humans, or we as humans, inherently are social, and when employees experience a collaborative, supportive culture from day one, they become active contributors to that environment. Investing in a thoughtful, structured onboarding process definitely helps build a stable, motivated workforce, reducing costly turnover and strengthening the organization's mission. So, at your organization, think about how many people you have within it. If you are a bigger organization, I definitely would recommend having your human resources department asking employees if they would want to be buddies, sort of like a mentor for new individuals coming on. And that buddy would be separate from the person onboarding them. They would just be an added support system for them to really, be able to debrief at the end of the day, or the new employee knows that they have this extra additional support and an individual who they can, go out to lunch with, who they can meet up with, ask questions. Oftentimes, we get very nervous when we start a new job and we don't want to ask something that we feel that we should already know, or we're too embarrassed, or it's too much anxiety. A buddy may help ease that, especially during an onboarding process. So, a great onboarding experience definitely begins before the first day. So, imagine receiving a welcome email with a video message from your leadership team or an overview of what to expect, access to key resources. That's definitely pre-boarding. It helps ease first day anxiety and it can set a positive tone. Again, a lot of individuals experience anxiety when going into new settings and new experiences. The first day should be a mix of structure and engagement, including team introductions, an office or virtual tour, and a discussion of organizational values. But onboarding doesn't stop there. A well-structured 30, 60, even a 90-day plan provides clear goals, mentorship opportunities, and progress check-ins. I know the last individual who spoke stated a 2-week onboarding experience. That's usually around the time frame that I would do for onboarding, between 2, 3, or even 4 weeks of onboarding someone when I was a program manager at a nonprofit. However, after that initial, onboarding experience, of course, checking in with them outside of your regular check-ins was really important. And you want to ensure that your new hires don't just survive their first few months, but that they thrive in them. Three essential elements of an effective onboarding program. So, again, thinking back to that last time you started a new job, did it feel like you were simply checking off tasks, filling out forms, sitting through welcome sessions, and trying to remember a sea of new names? If so, that's because you likely experienced just one aspect of onboarding, which is the orientation. But truly effective onboarding includes three components that just go beyond the basics. So, orientation, of course, is the logistics of onboarding. So, I think a lot of times people feel that this is the whole onboarding process, or it should be the whole onboarding process, because the orientation includes the paperwork, the reviewing policies, learning about the organization structure, and while necessary, these tasks can be very overwhelming, especially if they lack the broader context. For example, reading a PTO policy is one thing. However, understanding the unspoken norms, like whether taking time off is encouraged or met with hesitation, is what really helps new hires navigate the workplace with confidence. So socialization, integrating into the workplace culture. So successful onboarding also fosters social connections, building the relationship within teams, engaging in informal conversations, and having a designated mentor, again, that buddy, can significantly impact how comfortable and supported a new hire may feel. Socialization ensures that new employees don't just learn what to do, but also how things are done within the organization's unique culture. So when employees feel connected early on, they integrate more smoothly and contribute more effectively. So the third aspect is definitely, learning and the training for success. So onboarding, again, should be more than just an information dump. It should be a structured learning process that provides relevant training at the right time. For instance, a manufacturing plant might require employees to complete safety training within the first few days, but without hands-on experience in the workplace, that training may lack context. So, effective learning experiences align training with real-world application, ensuring that new hires retain and apply key information. So, for instance, case managers, having them shadow a senior case manager is super important. Not only that, also having them do the intakes, having them do the check-ins, so that they can get comfortable in that setting. And if they have any questions right then and there, they have someone else to ask, um, so that they know what to do next time when they are alone. So, orientation, socialization, and learning work together to create a comprehensive onboarding experience. Just moving beyond a traditional checklist approach allows organizations to develop an onboarding process that fosters engagement, confidence, and long-term success. So, the role of leadership and mentorship in onboarding. So, when your leadership is involved, does it impact your motivation? Leadership involvement in onboarding sends a powerful message. It tells new hires that their role is valued and that they are an integral part to the mission. One of my favorite things within the places that I've worked at is always that open door policy. Um, and I feel like it connects everyone so well. Beyond leadership, mentors, or onboarding buddies, it can really provide a crucial support system. So these individuals help bridge that gap between training and real world application. They can answer questions, they can offer guidance, and they can definitely help new hires integrate socially. Consistent feedback and check-ins to ensure that new employees feel supported, not just during onboarding, but throughout your whole time that you're at the workplace. So onboarding shouldn't just be the responsibility of a human resources rep or the new hires direct manager. It should be a team-wide effort. If your goal is to help new employees integrate into your culture and social norms, then you need broad participation to make that happen. Engaging multiple team members in the process creates a richer experience for new hires. It strengthens relationships and even helps existing staff grow as they take on mentorship roles. So, who should be involved in onboarding? Does anyone want to tackle that question?
Yes, I would say you would want the supervisor involved in onboarding.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Billy. Of course. So definitely a direct supervisor, that human resources rep play a key role. But we also want to involve our peers. Daryl, you had a question?
Oh no, I wanted to make a comment.
Yeah.
I believe the leadership person definitely should be there. And whoever is in charge, if you have a person in charge of the HR, uh, those two key people at the least, I believe, should be there. Because if anything good or bad happened, at least those two are there in the beginning to put eyes on the person, if I may go so far.
No, yeah, thank you. So yeah, definitely department leads, as well as cross-functional teams can contribute. A great strategy is to task each department, if you have multiple departments, with developing their own onboarding action items for new hires. For instance, a financial department only knows so much about the development and communications department. Tie in those individuals from that department to help onboard an individual. Have them brainstorm creative ways to welcome and integrate new employees. Simple yet meaningful gestures definitely go a very long way. Daryl, did you want something else to say?
Now, this is a question pertaining just to what you said. I had put in the chat earlier.
Oh, gotcha.
Recently, my organization facility was just approved as a work source site place. So,
Nice.
and they'll pay employees up to 300 hours. Can I or should I use that as part of my onboarding process to see if this person, going to work out? I mean, 300 hours, you can find out, I believe, if they'll work out or not. What is your opinion on that?
So they are a part of your organization and you want to see whether or not you should onboard them?
Well, or hire them because, like I said, they're onboarding would be part of the process. But if you want to see if this person is really a good fit for you and you a good fit for them, I think
So they're a
300 hours.
volunteer right now with 300 hours?
Well, the work source place, uh, they will pay for the 300 hours for me.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. But they're going to be involved in your organization.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that'll give me. I mean, I'm just asking maybe. I think that'll be a good part of the process to see, okay, this person's gonna be a good fit. 300 hours is a lot of time to see
It
if a
is a lot
person,
of time.
maybe I can call them a probationary period. I'm just trying to figure out how to go about this.
No, yeah, you should definitely onboard them into your organization. Giving them the history is really important. Even if you have volunteers at your organization, you should have some form of onboarding for them. Um, because honestly, a lot of employees, they become employees from being interested in your organization, from becoming possible volunteers. Anyone involved in your organization should know the history of it. They should know what you guys do, how you do things. So yes, you should have some form of onboarding for them so that they know what to do, especially if they're going to be there for 300 hours. So it's definitely important to make onboarding engaging. No one forms connections by learning how to use the office printer, although it is very important. People definitely bond over shared experiences, laughter, informal interactions. So try incorporating team building activities, such as an onboarding bingo card with fun facts about employees to encourage the conversation. To make onboarding effective, we must also equip our team members with the right tools. A well-structured plan that outlines responsibilities, prevents confusion, and ensures that no one feels overwhelmed. So, when everyone understands their role in onboarding and why it matters, they can definitely provide better support and guidance. Um, Training team members on best practices such as effective communication and how to create an inclusive environment can significantly improve the experience for those new hires. And ultimately, successful onboarding isn't just about making someone feel welcome on day one. It's about creating a lasting foundation for engagement, retention, and success. We all play a part. We build a workplace where employees feel valued and connected from the start. Kevin, did you have a question?
You called on me?
Yes, I see your hand up.
Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All this is wonderful. And so what we do for APUU, we do have a outside agency called Aloha that's really been help supporting us in building our infrastructure just for this.
Nice.
Yeah, so we got our policies and procedures in place and all that stuff. So it's wonderful. And I love this part of this webinar and this exercise. But what about organizations that just starting off? Because if I want to branch out and start my own 501c3 and it's just me, you know, do we still use these practices, or what should we use? Is it just you have a real small organization where you don't have the admin in the background to have the supervisor that's coming in and help you on board? So what should we do?
Yeah, it's difficult when you're very small, right? As most nonprofits, you start off as like three, maybe even just two people. So an onboarding experience wouldn't necessarily be to that grand scale compared to, an organization of like 25 plus. However, you should still make time um to structure out some type of onboarding for you too, because at the end of the day, you're gonna want to grow as an organization. So you want to think about what is important for you to have others learn who may enter your organization. If you're going to look for volunteers, those volunteers are an extension of your company, an extension of your nonprofit. You want them to know how your organization came to be. You want them to know general statistics about your nonprofit. They will be telling other individuals about your nonprofit, and the last thing you want is for them to give the wrong information. So the onboarding structure can be smaller, it could be condensed, but I still think it's really important to have. So definitely creating a welcoming and culture starts on day one. A sense of belonging, it boosts engagement, productivity, retention, and it's not just about making new hires feel comfortable, it's about ensuring that they feel valued and heard. For example, incorporating storytelling into onboarding allows employees to share their backgrounds and personal connections to the mission, and encouraging that open dialogue through get to know you discussions and recognizing diverse perspectives through get to know you discussions or through infinity groups can strengthen inclusivity. So by celebrating diversity and creating an equitable workplace, we definitely set the stage for long-term success. So starting a new job is or can be a major life transition, one that can be both exciting and nerve-wracking. And so let's think about the long journey a new hire takes before they even step through the doors. They Job search, they complete the application process, they do the interviews, and finally they receive an offer. So after months of anticipation, they arrive on their first day, and what happens? They're often inundated with paperwork, logins, training modules, and a barrage of information. So it's not exactly the warm welcome that they anticipated or that they deserve, really. So let's definitely flip that script. VIP experience definitely starts before day one. A simple way to build excitement is by sending a welcome kit with company swag or a video from the team sharing why they love working there. Even asking that individual for a bio and sending a company-wide email is a great way to really introduce that individual to the team. The small gestures, again, go a very long way in making new hires feel valued. The first day itself should be intentional and engaging. Their workplace should be ready, technology set up, schedule clearly outlined. But more than that, we need to communicate. We're excited that you're here. A great first day includes a personalized schedule, introductions to key colleagues, a structured overview of their role, clear expectations for the first few weeks. It's about balancing structure with warmth and engagement. So social connection is a huge part of this. New hires aren't just looking for policies and procedures. They want to understand the social norms of the workplace. A team lunch, virtual meet and greets, or even a fun icebreaker game can help them relax and begin forming connections. So again, onboarding isn't just a 1 week event. It should extend beyond the first few days into, at least 3 months. Those first 90 days are oftentimes someone's probationary period. So definitely to refine your approach, I encourage you to conduct interviews or just revisit with employees who were hired within the past year and ask them, what made your first day great? What could have been better? Use that feedback to create an onboarding agenda that fosters excitement, social connection, and long-term engagement. So again, remember, hiring a great candidate is an achievement. So celebrate it, whether through small personal touches or a structured onboarding journey. You have the opportunity to make every new hire feel like a VIP from the start. So effective training is more than just information overload. It's about application. So instead of relying solely on handbooks, incorporating real life scenarios, case studies, and role-playing exercise can make learning more engaging. So cross-department collaboration is key if there's multiple departments within your organization. By shadowing different teams, employees gain a holistic view of the nonprofit's operations. Continuous learning opportunities, such as skill building workshops and peer coaching, ensure employees feel equipped to grow in their roles. And a well-trained employee is a confident and productive one. So again, starting a new job can feel like entering a new city or a new state. New hires spend a lot of time conducting cultural research, figuring out unspoken norms, how decisions are made, what social behaviorals are acceptable. They definitely ask around to see if their boss is more formal or casual, how quickly people respond to emails, and whether it's normal to grab lunch with coworkers or just eat at their desk. So imagine if they had a trusted guide to provide those answers up front. Again, that's where a well-designed buddy system comes into play. A buddy serves as a go-to resource for new hires, definitely to help them navigate company culture, meet key colleagues, and answer day-to-day questions. The support accelerates their integration, making them feel more confident and connected. So for a buddy system to work, though, expectations must be clear. Buddies should embody the organization's values and be approachable, patient, enthusiastic about mentoring. Ideally, they should be in a similar role as the new hire so that they can share firsthand knowledge. But their success also depends on having the time and resources to fulfill the role. Offering incentives often, such as incorporating the buddy role into performance goals or recognizing their contributions, helps ensure engagement. But the program should be structured, providing a workbook with suggested meeting cadences, talking points, fun activities, definitely keeps the buddy relationship purposeful. And you can also give your buddy the tasks of things such as giving tour, introducing new hires to the team, and act as a soundboard for early challenges. Um, a buddy is a great role for someone who is looking to move up into that manager role. Um, and of course, again, feedback is key. After the first month, gather input from both the buddy and the new hire to refine any buddy system. Adjustments based on real experiences will definitely strengthen the program of the buddy, and ensuring that it's right for your company. A great buddy system isn't just about easing the first few weeks, it's an investment in long-term success. So strong workplace relationships are essential for retention. New employees have the opportunity to engage with colleagues beyond formal meetings. Again, those icebreaker activities, team lunches, peer-led Q&A sessions can create an environment where people feel connected. So consider a meet your team initiative where new hires are paired with different team members for informal coffee chats. Who doesn't love coffee, right? Another great strategy is an ask me anything session with leadership. You could do a brown bag session where everyone brings lunches in brown bags, and you have that session with your leadership where new hires can engage in open dialogue. The goal is to ensure that every employee feels like they belong, no matter how long they've been at the company. Onboarding activities that make new hires feel welcomed and appreciated is always the goal. So you want to reduce that anxiety, and instead of a traditional classroom orientation, you may incorporate interactive activities into your onboarding program. One fun and effective method is, again, that role-playing real-life scenarios that new hires might face in their roles. And to make things even more engaging, you can involve the whole team in developing scenarios, or even allow them to participate in, coming up with scenarios. And then, of course, celebrating the new hire is always essential for building loyalty and excitement. So consider throwing a team or company-wide celebration after their first week, after their first month, or even 90 days. Similar to a birthday party, a celebration like this could show employees that their contributions are appreciated, creating a deeper sense of connection to the company. So when it comes to orientation, think beyond the typical slide deck presentation. Instead, consider creating a video series where different leaders offer virtual tours of their departments, introduce their teams, explain how their work supports the company's mission. For a more personalized touch, include day in the life stories from current employees so that new hires can get a real sense of the company's culture. So we are going to break out into a session, breakout rooms. So for this activity, you're going to craft your ideal onboarding experience. So in these small breakout rooms, you are going to discuss and design your ideal onboarding experience and consider the following questions. What made your best onboarding experience great? What were the biggest challenges in previous onboarding experiences? And if you were designing an onboarding experience from scratch, what key elements would you include? And when we come back to the big room, we'll share a couple of our insights. So let me. All right, so thank you everyone for going into those groups. Does anyone want to come off mute and share what their group came up with?
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, a lot of us agreed with the idea of overall, like the theme would be taking pressure off of the new hire in ways that you might not realize. Personally, I'm pretty new in the workforce, and I'm pretty grateful that getting hired at Awoke honestly had a really positive onboarding experience. And I think it was because of that element. When I was hired, I was living in a different state, and the organization's smaller. Everybody knows each other. They've known each other for years. And so it was definitely a scenario where it would have been really easy for me to feel like an outsider, but that never was an issue. It was nice having my supervisor and also the executive director of the organization kind of walk me through the onboarding process. So I got to know the person who's in charge of me like one on one. And because I started in a different state, one thing that he did that I really appreciated was he went out of his way to create meetings with people I would be working adjacent to without it being in a big group setting that it could make someone feel kind of like pressure. So he made meetings with like the other assistants or the program coordinators. He put us all three together, and he was also there to facilitate. So I didn't have to be there and be like, "Hi, what's your name?" And it took the pressure off of me while also creating like a really positive introduction. So whenever I did arrive in person and I made that transition over here, I was walking into a new office, but I had already known everybody I had been talking to. And I had felt like that first hurdle, it took the pressure off of me because he took that on, and it really helped foster a good environment. Um, and the other thing was that, yeah, so it's like, and I feel like because of COVID and how often we use Zoom meetings, integrating those types of things can be pretty helpful in general. Uh, yeah, so that was what comes to mind right now.
Thank you so much for sharing. So definitely, how do you know if your onboarding process is working? So again, measuring that success is critical. And sending out onboarding surveys at key intervals, whether that's at 1 week, at 1 month, 3 months, provides insight into how new hires are adjusting and where improvements can be made. Tracking retention rates and employee engagement levels also helps you determine long-term impact. If employees feel connected and supported early on, they are more likely to stay and contribute meaningfully. Continuous refinement based on data ensures that onboarding remains relevant and effective. So, assessing the success of your onboarding program is essential to ensure that it is achieving the desired outcomes. It's not just about hearing new hires say, "This place is great." Though that's always a positive sign, the real measure of success lies in collecting data, analyzing it, and confirming that your onboarding process aligns with your organization's broader strategic objectives. So one straightforward and effective approach is to gather information directly from new hires. This can be done through surveys or structured one-on-one conversations. You can ask questions such as, did you feel welcomed? Were there any aspects that were unclear? How well did the onboarding help you understand the company's mission and values? Collecting feedback regularly during the onboarding journey allows you to quickly identify what's working well and what may need refinements. Managers play a crucial role in evaluating the effectiveness of the onboarding process. They can provide valuable insights into how well new hires are adjusting, whether the onboarding adequately prepared them for their role, and if there are any gaps in the training or integration process. Their observations can guide improvements to enhance both the new hire experience and the broader team dynamics. And of course, you know how much we love data here at Amity. So quantitative data is just as important in telling the story of your onboarding program success. Metrics such as retention rates can serve as strong indicators of effectiveness. A reduction in turnover during the first 6 months typically suggests that the onboarding experience is helping new hires feel engaged and supported. Another key metric is time to productivity. How quickly do new hires become fully effective in their roles? A well-executed onboarding program should reduce this time significantly. You can also establish specific performance metrics for new hires at different stages of the onboarding experience. So employee engagement scores early in onboarding processes can shed light on the effectiveness of a program. And by consistently collecting and reviewing all of your data points, you can make continuous improvements to your onboarding program. So it definitely helps demonstrate the value when you track and measure success of any onboarding. So definitely, get that feedback. So we did want to include an example of what a one-day welcome may look like for an onboarding schedule. So definitely, doing a welcome, a breakfast, introductions, teaching them about the mission, the vision, the values, the structure of your organization and its team members, an office tour, IT setup, letting them figure out all the things on their computer, setting up their signature on their email, their phone, the case management software. Of course, you want to dip in those breaks because if you don't, then more than likely it's not going to happen just because the day is so jam-packed. You want to schedule in those human resources policies, reviewing the handbook with them and any compliance overview. You want to do lunch with their mentor or their buddy. You want to overview your programs, your services, and then, their case management role. So this one is actually for a case manager. Should have said that before. And what is their role, responsibilities? Take a deep dive into that so that they understand what they are expected to do. Schedule another break. And then have them do question and answer with leadership team or with, the team in general. And then always at the end of the day, during the onboarding period, schedule time to debrief with your new hire. It's extremely important to schedule that in just because you want to answer any final lingering questions that they may have. So definitely thank you for joining me today. So as we close, I encourage you to think about your own onboarding experiences and what elements stood out to you. What challenges did you face? Your insights will help refine and elevate your approach. Definitely a lack of support from leadership is one of the biggest challenges that human resources faces when implementing a new or improved onboarding experience. And it's not the only challenge. Sometimes you can face other challenges or roadblocks with just creating a process, but definitely always tie onboarding to the outcomes that you want for your organization. So definitely take your time in making sure that you involve everything that you want someone to know about your organization within your onboarding experience. So again, thank you for your time and commitment to joining me for this 1 hour. The QR code for that exit survey is up on the screen. We would greatly appreciate if you did that exit survey. It also not counts, that's the wrong word. It also is your attendance for today. So through these exit surveys, we are tracking who comes. So we no longer do the name and organization in the chat. We do the QR code. I will leave it up for a couple more seconds, and then I will post it in the chat. So thank you so much for joining us today. If you do the survey via the QR code, you are free to go. If not, hold on for a quick second. I'll post it in the chat. Have a great day, everyone.